We now know the identity of the man charged with bursting into Nancy Pelosi's home, looking for her and attacking her husband with a hammer. He's 32-year-old David Wayne DePate from Berkeley, California. He allegedly screamed, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" 82-year-old Paul Pelosi was struck on the head and torso with a...
this before so that more people can filter in, but we're going to be asking today, obviously something took place earlier this morning at the home of Nancy Pelosi. Clearly, she was not there at the time, so she was out of town, but we want to know what exactly happened. Now, depending on what side of the aisle you lean, you may have different views of this. I understand my beloved MAGA audience, as I always say, this is a MAGA-friendly program. I don't run from opposing comments, but a lot of folks on the right do not believe it was a legitimate attack or that it was not real. So that's what we're going to be discussing tonight, is what exactly happened at the home of Pelosi and who is the individual that perpetrated the crime. Is he an opportunist, someone with mental health issues, or is he MAGA? Is he actually a Trump supporter that has been radicalized by either President Trump, QAnon theories, or both combined? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Having brain surgery, not a false flag. Yours truly, your humble correspondent, I agree with you 100% TMLR3. However, if you notice in the comments right after you, one grateful for grace is saying the event was staged. So there is no shortage of folks who believe both of these theories are possible. So this is what the show's going to be about. I wasn't going to really do a show tonight, but obviously with this going on, and really nothing stopping it from happening again, we have to talk about where are we in this divided state of American politics. Is this stuff the result of Trump's rhetoric, or is this just a crazy guy? So we're going to talk about that, but we'll go ahead and cue up a brief explanation because everyone doesn't know the whole story or part of it. So here's the Newswire report.
We now know the identity of the man charged with bursting into Nancy Pelosi's home, looking for her and attacking her husband with a hammer. He's 32-year-old David Wayne DePate from Berkeley, California. He allegedly screamed, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" 82-year-old Paul Pelosi was struck on the head and torso with a hammer. The attacker reportedly tried to tie him up and wait for Nancy. Video shows shattered glass doors in the back of the house in the fashionable Pacific Heights neighborhood of San Francisco. The home invasion took place at 2:27 a.m. Friday. And look, there's an object, possibly a hammer, lying on the carpet. Paul Pelosi called 911 without the attacker realize it.
Paul Pelosi is basically trying to tell her in code what's going on. Why are you here? What are you going to do to me? I mean, you can imagine how he's trying to not let the attacker know that 911 is listening.
Our officers observed Mr. Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer. The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it. Our officers immediately tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took him into custody.
The House Speaker was at her Washington, D.C. home at the time of the attack. A spokesman said, Mr. Pelosi was taken to the hospital where he is receiving excellent medical care and is expected to make a full recovery. Nancy Pelosi has a Capitol Police security detail 24/7, but they were not at the San Francisco house because she was not there.
Before we go, we want to send our best to Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, a lovely, lovely man who was brutally attacked in his own home in the middle of the night. Nancy's husband, Paul.
Here's what we have learned about the accused attacker. He sells hemp jewelry. He's a conspiracy theorist and espouses racist views. He's 6'2" and weighs 250 pounds. This is him dancing with the bride at a nudist wedding outside San Francisco City Hall in 2013. President Biden expressed outrage. A horrible attack, he said, adding he was praying for Paul Pelosi and Speaker Pelosi's whole family. And the FBI foiled an alleged plot to assassinate Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in July. Nancy Pelosi was a key target of the January 6th rioters. And her home has been attacked before. The garage door was daubed with graffiti in a protest last year. And now this.
So the first question we have to ask is, why the hell is her house so unsecure? I mean, even if nothing happened to the husband or nothing had happened to Nancy Pelosi, how are you just able to get to their garage and spray graffiti on it? Why don't they live in a more secure dwelling? These folks have plenty of money, and they also have plenty of enemies. Hell, even if I, your humble correspondent, if I started making money and I was debating with right-wingers the way I do on this program, I wouldn't even leave my shit that exposed. But when you have hundreds of people infiltrating the Capitol building and they're saying your name, why would you be living in a home that has that little bit of security? An 82-year-old man home by himself. I don't get this. I do not. Now, I'm not here to pretend like it's some kind of false flag or something like that. I'm listening to the police report, and if you listen to the police, they actually observed the guy hitting the man with the hammer. So the police are saying that it happened right in front of their face. So I have a hard time understanding why anyone at this point would be saying it's not true. Anyhow, let me go straight to the box. We'll go with Miss Drew. This will be very interesting. Always good to talk to Miss Drew. Certainly very interesting. Always Miss Drew. Can you hear me?
Why is the glass on the outside of the window? Hey.
Why is the glass on the... Yeah.
Why is the glass on the outside?
Okay, you're breaking up, but I believe you asked the question of why is the glass on the outside of the window? You know, I'm not a forensic expert. I don't know if... First of all, I don't know if that glass is tempered or not. And I also do not know if... Huh?
It's common sense. It's common sense.
Okay, what is common sense?
Common sense. You have to push the glass from the inside for it to fall outside. You have to push it from the outside for it to fall inside. Are we disputing that?
No, let me respond to that. The response I gave you is, first of all, we need to know if the glass is regular glass or if it's tempered like a car window with some type of film on it, because we also, if it depending on what was, hang on. Depending on what was used to break the glass, if it came apart like plastic, maybe somebody was maybe using a hammer, for instance, and pulling it out with each strike, making glass fly out. So, go ahead.
No.
How do you know?
That's not how it works. So that Nancy Pelosi has the best of the best, right? She also has one of the most secured properties in the whole country.
So what are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting it's a false flag.
Okay. So you don't believe this guy was attacked at all?
No, I'm not saying he wasn't attacked. I'm saying he was sacrificed.
Sacrificed by who?
By his own wife.
So you
by his own party.
You believe his wife or possibly the Democratic Party left an 82-year-old man to be hit with a hammer?
Yep. For midterm votes.
For what purpose?
Midterm. What else? So this just happens to happen 2 weeks before the midterms? And they're going to blame January. They're going to blame January 6th when it was almost 2 years ago. Get off the January 6th crap. Move on.
Okay, let's
moved on.
Okay, let's go with what you're saying. Let's suggest what you're saying is true. And by the way, folks, tap the screen. Obviously, we got MAGA in here. We got liberals alike. Everyone's welcome to speak their opinion. As you see, I do not ban, block, or censor anyone. Disagreeing with the host doesn't mean a damn thing. But let your thumbs not be lazy. Get your boy up to 5,000 likes. Let's say what you're saying, Ms. Drew, is actually true. The fact is, a large portion of voters have already voted. If they were going to do this to alter the midterms, isn't it kind of late at this point?
Well, a lot of people, including the Democrats that are going to vote an opposite way this year, do not trust our election. So they're waiting till November 8th to vote.
Okay, so you believe that, so you actually think that what was done here was specifically done to give Democrats more sympathy in the election?
I think it was done to make it look like Ultra MAGA is domestic terrorist, as Joe Biden said.
Okay, so how do you feel about folks reporting that this guy has a social media page that is talking about the election was stolen, talking about COVID protocols, and criticizing the January 6th committee? I mean, how do you feel about that?
Pre-planned. Pre-planned, all of it.
What are you basing that on?
I'm basing that on my own belief and common sense.
Okay. So is there any shred of possibility at all that this could have been a Trump supporter that was angry with Nancy Pelosi and wanted to do harm to her? Is that no possibility at all?
Nope. None, zero.
Fair enough. So let me ask you this. If the San Francisco police, after their investigation, came back and said this is a radicalized Trump supporter, would you believe the police are lying?
No, yep, sure do.
Okay. So in other words, there is absolutely no way under the sun you will ever believe that this could be a Trump guy.
No way under the sun when on, like I'm reading right here, it says when the left is claiming that Paul Pelosi's attacker was MAGA, but you look at his house, he has rainbow flags, he has all kinds of other stuff flying, and there's other stuff that supports that he's not MAGA. MAGA is not about that. You have to stop demonizing like a MAGA and then saying, oh, I support, MAGA to come in here. That's not uniting anybody.
You think he's a liberal?
MAGA I'm not saying that some deranged, crazy person did not do this. It is 100% a setup, but it is 100% not MAGA. Okay.
So let me ask you this question. I get that you believe it's not MAGA. I'm not going to argue with you on that. If you believe it's not MAGA, you're entitled to that, as I always make it clear in the program. But let's just say for shits and giggles, let's just pretend like it actually was MAGA. The question I want to ask you is, if it was for some strange reason MAGA or a Trump supporter that did this, who could tell you and have you actually believe it?
It would have to come from someone like, it couldn't come from mainstream.
Who
could not come from any mainstream.
Who could tell you and you would actually trust them?
I don't want to say the name because I don't want to get you banned.
One human being? Only one human being on earth could tell you this?
Probably, yeah.
Wow. That's
huge.
That's a high bar.
I'm a huge follower.
Say that.
Huge AJ follower.
Yeah, huge.
I'm a huge AJ follower.
Okay. The guy who owes $1 billion. Yeah, the guy who owes $1 billion. Okay. All right.
That guy. Yep.
Wow, that's saying something, because how do you get your news if you don't trust anyone? I'm just curious.
Because I go to what he references. Literally, when he's doing his show and he has all of his printouts on there, I literally go to the news, the same news that he does.
Okay. It's interesting.
Hardcore.
Yeah, that's fair. The odd thing is, you do not trust the vast majority of media, and the person you trust has just lost a huge civil suit based on the fact or the belief or the litigation says that he was lying. So the guy the guy you actually believe has lost the largest liable suit in basically in history. I don't know anyone that's ever lost a lawsuit bigger than that.
The guy that I believe has millions of followers worldwide.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so does the small mustache guy. That doesn't mean. So, do you believe what he's? I guess I have to ask you this. We'll try to have this conversation without it being banned. You know, I'll never ban or block you,
Yeah,
but I know I know TikTok does its own shit. But in regards
you're
to
fine.
the AJ guy, do you believe what he said about Sandy Hook and those children was true?
No.
So you do believe he was lying?
I believe that he was misled by another guy, and if you actually go out and watch the whole trial, he actually, through all those years, he only spent it might have been it's like somewhere between 14 and 20 minutes actually talking about it.
So if you believe he could be misled into doing something that would cost him billions of dollars, how do you know he's not being misled about the other stuff he talks about?
Because why aren't they suing?
Okay, all right. I mean, who knows what the future may hold, but I get your point. Why aren't they suing? I mean, if that's the case, then if you want to base a lie or the truth on why aren't people suing, then we could ask that about all the other media sources. CNN is not being sued constantly.
We know his content, right? And
Yeah.
he's been in this content for 25 plus years. In 25 plus years, why has nobody else ever sued him? Because they cannot prove he's wrong. That's why.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Hey, well, listen, Miss Drew, I do got to move it on. We will talk about this again in the future. You and I, obviously, you're welcome back anytime. This is clearly still developing to some degree, and obviously we have a difference of opinion, but that doesn't mean shit. Come on back through anytime.
Nope. All right. Bye.
Okay. Hey, good talk. Okay. Looking in the comments here. Hey, Drew, go ahead. Miss Drew, drop it. Go ahead and drop out. Something's happening on my side again. Looking in the comments. AJ filed an appeal. Yeah, of course, D Benders. There was a racist guy named Daryl Brooks in Wisconsin. I believe last Thanksgiving. He's a black guy. He went through a holiday parade in Waukesha, ran over dozens of people, killing 6 white people. Racist to the core. I'm not even going to pretend like he wasn't racist. He was recently found guilty earlier this week of 6 murders and a ridiculous amount of attempted homicides. He's filing an appeal too. So when you say AJ is filing an appeal, my response to you is that they all file an appeal. That means nothing. AJ is not going to succeed in his appeal, mainly because he was cheering when they were ordering him to pay large sums of money and even stated it's not high enough. How are you going to go and file an appeal suggesting that what was done to you was wrong when they were ordering it and your response was the amounts are not high enough? I don't know if an appeal has any grounds based on how he behaved during the original judgment. It's just, I would be very shocked to see. I mean, I guess the appeals court, unlike the Supreme Court, they have to take the case. Maybe. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm wondering, can they throw out his request for an appeal before even hearing it? Because I'm going to assume that they would wrap that up pretty quick. Looking at the comments, what's your thought on the Paul Pelosi attack? Well, listening to the evidence, and I appreciate the fact that you guys are working the thumbs and tapping the screen, bringing me more of what I love talking to. MAGA and liberals are welcome. I'm going to go right back to the box. I'm not going to bloviate too long, but I'm going to go with what the authorities said. Real quick, I just want to, just the part here where the police officer states his point is, until I see more, I'm going to go with this.
The attacker know that 911 is listening.
Our officers observed Mr. Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer. The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it. Our officers immediately tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took him into custody.
The House Speaker
Now, why would that officer lie? I understand the idea about the election coming up, but I mean, why would he go on TV and throw his own reputation away? So until I see more, I'm gonna go with that. Let's go with Michael Christopher in the box 91. Cuba. I don't know where the officer's from, Prancy. Michael, good evening. Michael, are you with us?
Hey, yeah, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. Have you been following what has went down at the Pelosi residence?
I have. And first, I just want to say I love that you're a liberal that's speaking to all parties calmly. That's
Thank you.
awesome. I
Thank you.
love that you have the timer on there because I just got on
Yeah.
about 6-7 minutes ago. So that
Okay.
tells me that, I'm coming in. So that's awesome. So thank you for that.
Anytime.
So yes, I've been following it very closely.
Okay. So what do you think? You think it was a false flag or you think it was MAGA?
So I think it's too early to fully say that, but my opinion is that yes, it is a false flag. If you just look at the facts as they've been presented so far. So here's what we know.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
The police arrived from a wellness call at 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m., whatever time it was. It was in the middle of the morning. That's awkward. You have basically the second person in line if the president dies to be president of the United States. And there's no security, no CIA, no Secret Service, nobody there. That's awkward, right?
Okay.
You have, besides the woman that you just had on there, she had a lot of really valid, good points that I agree with. You had one good point regarding the breaking of the glass, how she said it was on the outside, it should have been on the inside, and that potentially they had extra like plexiglass or something like that. So that was a good point you made, that potentially he was hammering in and coming out.
Yeah.
So that was the only good point I think that was made, on the other side.
You're talking about the glass here in the picture where you can clearly see looks like shards on the ground. I've seen car windows busted out. In fact, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I've probably had my car broken into over the years to steal radios and shit at least a half dozen times. And every time my car was busted into, there was glass on the ground outside of the car. So, and obviously the glass wasn't broken from the inside, but every time my car has been busted out, there was glass on the ground outside.
Yeah, there can be someone on the inside. So what I'm saying is that was a good point that you made. That was a good point on your end.
Okay.
But at 2:30 in the morning, I don't remember exactly what time that happened.
All right.
A wellness check.
2:43, I believe he said.
All right. A wellness check is called in at 2:30 in the morning is extremely, extremely awkward. And in San Francisco,
it's not. Wait. It's not. I don't know why they refer to it as a wellness check, because the reports are that Nancy Pelosi's husband himself dialed 911 and did not want the assailant to know the assailant to know.
So I want to know. I'd want to know where you got that information from, because I've gotten information that it was like a housekeeper or a neighbor that called in because she thought there was something going on inside of the residence. So
no, it's all of. I have not heard any other news source say anything other than it was the husband that dialed 911 and had the phone. And he literally was talking to the police in code. So the phone.
Where did you get that information from?
Every news source I've heard this on has said that.
All right. So I've had other news sources that say both. I've heard both. Okay. I've heard two stories on that. So I don't think that's factual until that fully comes out, and I think that we can hear it. So we can put that on the shelf.
Okay,
but
if give me, this is about 2 minutes. I believe they say it in this report, but I just want to clear it up and we can continue talking. It's only about 2 minutes.
Know the identity of the man charged with bursting into Nancy Pelosi's home, looking for her and attacking her husband with a hammer. He's 32-year-old David Wayne DePate from Berkeley, California. He allegedly screamed, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" 82-year-old Paul Pelosi was struck on the head and torso with a hammer. The attacker reportedly tried to tie him up and wait for Nancy. Video shows shattered glass doors in the back of the house in the fashionable Pacific Heights neighborhood of San Francisco. The home invasion took place at 2:27 a.m. Friday. And look, there's an object, possibly a hammer, lying on the carpet. Paul Pelosi called 911 without the attacker realize it.
Paul Pelosi is basically trying to tell her in code what's going on. Why are you here? What are you going to do to me? I mean, you can imagine how he's trying to not let the attacker know that 911 is listening.
Our officers observed Mr. Pelosi and his suspect.
Okay, now he said, now I hate the fact that they put a CNN clip in there because I know my audience is no fan of CNN, so I really hate that part. But he did say in that video there that the husband himself made the phone call.
All right, so here's two things I got from that. First of all, in that clip, I believe they said the guy was 32. I believe he's 42. So that's a mistake right there. Unless I heard it incorrectly, that's a mistake right there. Right?
I wouldn't even, that slipped by me. I wasn't even, hang on, hold on a second.
Husband with a hammer. He's 32-year-old David Wayne.
Yeah, he says
so
32.
That's a mistake right there, right?
Okay.
He's 42.
Right.
We all know that. So, yeah, I there's so much disinformation out there. You got to just look at the facts as we know them now, right? This smell. There's something off about this story. You got to admit there's something really awkward about
I don't. You know something? Here's my take on it. I believe the distrust of the media and certainly of the liberals right now coming from the right is so great that it's kind of one of those things. If you go looking for something, you will find something. I don't think, like my last caller said, there literally is no one that could tell her that this guy is guilty or that this guy is a Trump supporter. I think there are folks who see this one way, and there's nothing you're going to tell them to change their mind. They're going to view this as, like you said, it's shady, and I don't care who tells me or what they say, I'm going to stick with it being shady, and I'm not going to go anywhere else with that. So I don't know if it is as strange or twisted as people are putting into it.
So I would disagree with you. I think, at least from my perspective, I'm factual. If someone factually brings me something that makes me pause and rethink of my position, I'm going to do that, right? I'm coming from a logical mindset. So, but again, you just go back to the facts. So they find this guy. And in San Francisco, the average time for the police to respond these days is 20 minutes, even in that community that they live in. 20 minutes.
Okay.
You can look it up.
Well,
20 minutes.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but
the cops were able to show up at the exact time that struggle was going on, and they saw them struggling for the hammer. He hadn't been hit yet. And then he starts to hammer him, and then they tackle him at 2 a.m. in his underwear.
Why would the police? I mean, I've heard of backing the blue. Why would the police just make up a lie like this?
So if you look at our history, if you look back at not our history, just the history of the world, all of the different empires of our country, of our world, what have they done? They have deceived people. Like I know it sounds extremely difficult to think about and comprehend. Like, why would they do this? Well, I think it's logical. You got the midterms in 10 days.
So I absolutely, based on what you're saying, I absolutely have to ask you, is it possible, considering that the Democrats may have done this because the midterms are coming up, is it possible that Trump also lied when he said the election was stolen? If you believe empires and politicians can lie, is it possible that when Trump said the election was stolen, he was lying too?
So I'll say this. I think you asked the same question to the last caller. And I would say, and I would say my answer is different than hers. I would say that anything is possible. Yes, I think anything is possible. But again, you can't think of you have to look at the facts. I mean, if you look at the facts, you got, again, just really quick. This will take 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
Go
You
for it.
have the third person in the seat of the presidency if Biden and Kamala die. President, right? No
Right.
one's at her house. There's no surveillance that has been. They have cameras all over that house in the most private, secluded neighborhood in God-ridden San Francisco. At 2:30 in the morning, someone calls. You said it was him. I've heard other things, for a wellness check at 2:30 in the morning. They come in. There's a guy in his underwear, and they're struggling for a hammer, and they're seeing this, and then they see him take the hammer away and start hammering him, and then that's when they bring him down. If you listen to those facts as we know them today, that's awkward. It's pretty awkward.
Well, I think I will tell you this. I got to move it on in a minute, but I'll give you the last word. But I'll tell you this. In my opinion, the only reason this comes across as awkward is because of the family that's involved in the election that's coming. If the police broke up an old lady from being sexually assaulted under these same circumstances where she made a call, put the phone down, the police came just when the guy was about to assault her, I don't think anyone will be saying it's awkward. Police show up and interrupt crimes in the middle of being committed all the time. It's the fact that this is Pelosi and the midterms are coming that's making it odd. That what the police walked in on, that happens all the time.
Okay, I would say yes, that possibly does happen,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't know yet what time the call was made to the time that they arrived. And I'm just saying factually, in San Francisco, on average, it's taking 20 minutes to come out, and it's got to be for like a high criminal offense. If it's a low level criminal offense, it's taking them 2 to 3 hours to come out.
I don't
And
know. I
sometimes
think
they're
you
not
may
even coming out.
be.
Sometimes they're not even coming out at all. If it's not
I
like
think some of that. Some of that's
a
the right.
criminal.
Some of that's the right wing media making talking about Democrats being soft on crime. I don't think they're taking. I don't think everybody that dials 911 in San Francisco has to wait 2 hours. I just. I mean, if it's that bad, damn. But I got to
No,
move
no,
it
no,
on,
no. It
man.
is. You can look it up. I mean, you
Okay.
can look it up. It depends on the crime, right? If
Right.
someone tried to pass off a fake $5 bill, they're probably not going to come. If someone's breaking in your house and going to try to murder you, they're probably going to come sooner. But anyways, I know you got to go. Keep this show going. But I want to again thank you for the dialogue. I love your platform.
Thank you.
I love the clock behind you. I love that you're I'm serious, very calm dialogue, because we all have different opinions and different thoughts. So I
That is
appreciate
true.
you. Thank you for allowing me to have a discussion with you.
Absolutely a pleasure. You're welcome back anytime. Hey, go ahead and drop out because my side over here is screwed up. But yeah, anytime, man. Come on back through. Okay,
All right, man. Have
looking
a
in
good
the
night.
comments.
Yep.
Appreciate it. You
Have a
don't
great
what
night,
in the
man.
comments. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, looking in the comments, you don't think they knew the house? Good point. Good point. And I'm going to interpret that as meaning when you receive a call on 911 from Nancy Pelosi's house, you're going to step up the response time. That's what I'm assuming. 20 minutes, 20-minute response time is obviously horrible if that is the average. But even in times where you average numbers, that means somebody might get a response that takes 40 minutes and somebody might get responded to in 4 minutes. That's an average. That's not the norm. It's just an average. The guy would be out on bail if it wasn't Pelosi. Regular people going through this, he would be out no bail. I don't know. What does that say? Itron or something like that. I don't know. I understand in liberal cities, folks right now are being let out on bail in for offenses that the right wing cities would put a needle in your arm and take your life for. I get it. The right is very hard on crime, and the liberals are softer on crime. And we can debate that back and forth. When the liberals are soft on crime, That leaves people who have been accused of violent crimes to possibly get out and reoffend. I understand the anger for that. However, when you're hard on crime, you start stopping and frisking people who do not need to be stopped, arresting folks who do not need to be arrested, and getting convictions based on bullshit and having people serve sentences that they don't deserve to serve. Now, on the right, you will hear about a violent convict that was let out on no bail and ended up hurting someone again. You'll hear about that all day on the right. But when it comes to somebody who was wrongfully stopped and frisked or served 20 years for a sentence they didn't commit, you will not hear that on the right side of the aisle. Because that is the outcome of rushing to lock everyone up. They don't talk about those people. They talk about the bad guys who have no bail, got out, and reoffended. The innocent people that are being locked up by rushing everybody to jail, you'll never hear about it. Looking in the comments, or better yet, going back to the box. Joby R. Program. Are we looking at a false flag, or do you believe Nancy Pelosi's husband really was attacked?
I think he was attacked. Absolutely.
Why do you think so many people think it was election oriented and, a lot of this is just made up?
Because they listen to the man who makes up the most shit in the world.
And that would be, and who would that be?
Let's see. I know more than the scientists. I know more than the doctors. I know more than the astronauts. No one knows more than me. I have the best words. I can't, I can go on all night. The FBI is lying. If they find anything in my Mar-a-Lago, it's planted. That guy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you saw I just had a caller on here a few callers ago that literally said AJ, the guy who had to pay a fortune for, that's the only person that could actually get her to believe if this guy actually is a Trump supporter. He's the only person that could tell her that and she'd actually believe it.
And he's a proven liar.
Like, huh?
He's a proven liar.
Yeah, that's what I was, and I asked her, I was like, it's interesting that the only guy you would believe just lost the largest lawsuit in history for lying. I don't have an explanation for how she trusts that guy and not all of the other reporters that have never been sued for slander or libel. I do not get that.
It's selective. She trusts him when it suits her agenda. If it doesn't, she don't trust him.
Yeah. Real quick in the comments, Rimerson0319 asked, who is AJ? Alpha Juliet. AJ, last name being Jones, said a lot of things about the Sandy Hook children that's not true and was ordered to pay nearly $1 billion in a civil suit. That should be enough clues to let you know who AJ is. But
I'm about 20 minutes away from where that trial is going on. Alex Jones.
Don't say the name. Don't say that. Do not say the name. They don't like the name, the app itself. And like I say all the time, I tell folks I would never censor or block you guys. Anything you want to say on here, I don't have a problem. I let people speak, but I cannot control the higher authority. So until we do this where Elon Musk is in control. By the way, you think that's a good idea? Elon Musk just got control of Twitter.
He's been on Twitter for a few hours, and there's already people changing their profile pictures to swastikas and Klansmen's hats, and the N-word is all over the place. It has begun, and he has.
That's really happening?
Yes, it's already.
That's really happening on there?
It's already happening. Yes. People are changing their profile pictures to the swastika, to Klansman hats, and the N-word is being thrown around all over the place on Twitter. That's what he wanted, and that's what he got.
My guess is, and I understand my right-wing followers do not like big government, but my guess is what's going to end up happening is they're going to have a congressional oversight. And here's what I would suggest. No matter what you do online, no matter what profile you use, no matter what profile picture you use, there should be your information tied to any profile you use. It doesn't have to be available to the average citizen like you and me. But if the government needs to know who posted that comment, your information should be tied to that profile. You shouldn't be able to do all this stuff with anonymity. Which is why if they're doing what you're saying, that's why, is because they can remain anonymous, because they know damn well they would not be able to maintain their place of employment, maybe even their residence or anything, if people knew who they were posting this stuff.
Exactly.
So, yeah, my response is this: if you feel that way, shout out to Kanye. Even though I don't agree with nothing Kanye said, at least he isn't hiding behind a cat picture. He's actually willing to come out and say that shit. So if you feel that way, take the approach of Kanye and back your words up with your face being shown.
I'm expecting Kanye to put a line of Confederate flag jumpsuits out pretty soon.
You know, that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I mean, if he's willing to put on a White Lives Matter shirt, I don't see what's really. I mean, yeah, I
Because
could see him
that's
doing
going to
that.
be his buying audience. That's all he's going to have left. That's going to be interested in his product.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You know something? When you think about the fact that his shoes are like $600 a pair and things like that, and I've said before, you're never going. Even though the right, my beloved MAGA folks love Ye or Kanye right now, you're not going to see a bunch of folks at a Trump rally wearing Yeezys. That's not going to happen. But if he does what you suggested and starts selling shirts and things like that with the stars and bars on them for an affordable price, he might be to make some money. But the
So
Yeezys are done.
Butterflies here says he has half white children for the love of all. That's holy. I can't believe you say that. Well, Thomas Jefferson had half white children too.
I was just going to say that. You realize how many slave owners have white children?
Sorry.
All of these biracial children born in the 1800s. Ain't
Yeah.
said nothing.
Yeah.
Somebody just wanted some ass. Ain't said nothing. So, 11 butterflies. How do you tell your half-white children that their lives don't matter when they don't look black? Well, 11, I would have to ask the question, why would anyone tell anyone? I mean, even if you are as dark as I am and you're talking to someone that is, as pale as an albino, why would you tell anyone their lives don't matter? I don't think I've ever heard anyone come out and tell somebody your life doesn't matter. Now, the reason that they're yelling Black Lives Matter is because, yeah, there are a lot of Black lives that are being taken, and the response is little to no action, such as George Zimmerman. They had sent that guy home within an hour of wrapping that up. Same thing with the Ahmaud Arbery case down in Georgia. They didn't even investigate that stuff. They showed up is a dead black guy. Here's a guy with a gun that says he killed him for this reason. That's good enough. Let's go home. So that's why they're yelling that, is that they're not getting proper, or what do you call it, due justice or whatever. But
they
yeah,
need to
save somebody's life. Go ahead.
They need to add the word "true" to the end of that. That's what people are missing. They mean to say that Black Lives Matter too.
Wouldn't matter. Wouldn't matter. The people who are criticizing Black Lives Matter believe that the whole claim is a fraud. If you don't believe the police are harassing blacks, or you don't believe racism exists, it doesn't matter what they call it, how they say it, or any of that. If you believe the cause that it is based on is a fraud, this applies to folks who always say, well, you're not protesting the right way. It's fine for you to protest, but don't do it this. If you believe the protest is based on a fraud, like how do we protest properly taking away everybody's guns, or how do we properly protest late-term abortions? There is no right way to do it. I don't believe in it. So if you don't believe the police are messing with black folks, there is no right way to protest to that person, because it's a fraud to them.
I'm mixed myself. I'm black and white myself, and it's always been
Uh-huh.
difficult for me to understand. But in society, I'm considered black. When it comes to the issues, I'm considered black. So I just never understood how anybody who is not black can say that there is no racism and there is no white privilege and there's no bias towards black. I don't understand how they can even contemplate that when they have zero experience with it. None. They haven't
Well,
experienced it.
it's like if you live in a family and you're the middle child, and God knows I was the middle child. I know what it's like to be, not treated as equal to the other children. If I talk to my older or younger brother, they don't know what the hell I'm complaining about, because they didn't go through it. And that's what I think it is that if you don't go through it, you don't see it all the time. I mean, like for instance, it don't have to be something as outrageous as Jim Crow laws. It could just be
No,
me and you. It could
subtle.
be, yeah, it could be you in Walmart shopping, and it
Yep.
could be a white person behind you, and the white person just went to their car and went home, and meanwhile you're being held behind so they can check your bags. He don't know
Yep.
anything went on. He doesn't know
They don't
anything
get.
happened. He's at home. So little
I'm
stuff
I,
like that.
I'm 55, and I can't recall a more than 2 month period in all of that time where I haven't faced some kind of racism, subtle
That's really bad.
or
Where are
blatant.
you at? What
I'm in
state are you in?
Connecticut. But I witnessed it, like you said, subtle things and blatant things, and and to have that denied is really frustrating.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that. And real quick in the comments, Randy Childers said, "Can black people be racist?" Yes. I started the live off by talking about Daryl Brooks. He's the black guy in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and went through a holiday parade and took his vehicle and ran over dozens of people, killing six. He was found guilty of all of those
Yeah.
homicides earlier this week, plus a lot of attempted murder. That guy was a racist. He's a black guy that's a racist. Farrakhan is a black guy that's a racist. So to answer your question, yeah, you can be black and racist. I'm not gonna get on here and say something stupid like that. Looking in the comments real quick. Yeah, I don't, when it comes to the subtle issues in regards to racism, I just think that there are some people who want to see it and others who don't.
You want my latest example?
Sure.
I'll give you a short one. I'm an entertainer, so I'm backstage at the venue, and with my two other my entourage there was a Spanish gentleman and another black gentleman, and the owner of the venue wouldn't give me the time of day or even bring us waters. Okay.
Wow.
And then another woman walked in, a white woman. She sat down in the same area we were at, all backstage. He came in and offered her food and a drink.
Yeah. It happens all over the place. I have been the victim of some of that stuff. I'm not going to go into it in detail now, but I'll admit that shit happens a lot. But listen, I
Yes,
got to move it on, Joby. Yeah.
All right, man.
I got to move it on, though. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Yeah, be safe, man, out here.
Oh, good. Appreciate it. As always, come on through anytime. I'm going to ask that you go ahead and drop out because my side is acting up over here, and I don't want to restart the whole damn live because my side. So let me look in the comments. About to get some free speech on Twitter again. You're going to get some free speech on Twitter, mental liberal. Love the name, but only for a short period of time. Because if too much wild shit starts happening on Twitter, they're going to start blaming Elon Musk for it. And even though he's one of the richest people on earth, I mean, Kanye West was not doing bad until he started getting stupid. And look what's happening to him now. I mean, before you know it, they'll start targeting him in other ways if he allows hate speech to fester on his social media outlet. And I've also said, like I said earlier, I do believe Congress is going to act on social media. I'm a huge proponent of free speech. As you guys know, I let people say whatever the hell they want on the page, so I'm not necessarily for censorship. However, the internet has become the new television media. There is far more media on the internet than there is Fox, OAN, CNN and things like that. The reach of the internet is substantially greater because it's worldwide. And there is a hell of a lot of restrictions and oversight on television media. Meanwhile, there's none on internet, and internet has a far greater reach. So I would submit to you that it is coming to the internet soon. Probably will be done by the way of liberals, but it would not surprise me if they get some Republican support, because as Nancy Pelosi is complaining, Brett Kavanaugh came pretty close to complaining too. So there are people on the right that is facing this shit as well that will have a say so in whether we have oversight or not. So I believe it's coming. Looking in the comments here. Hurry up, y'all. Let's join Twitter for free speech now. Yeah, go ahead and join Twitter and get your free speech on. I'm not hating on that. All right, let me go back to the box. I've said enough. Big Ivy, friend of the program, welcome back. Big good evening. MAGA or false flag at the residence of Nancy Pelosi?
I think it was a false flag. I don't. I think she would have better security than than that being the Speaker of the
Yeah,
House.
I agree with you, but I would have said Brett Kavanaugh would have better security as well. He's not Nancy Pelosi, but you are a Supreme Court justice. You're rolling back Roe versus Wade, and he don't have strong security in his crib either.
Didn't he have Secret Service standing outside his house?
They started sending shit when he started having problems, but no, there was no serious security in his house.
Well, I'm sure they had cameras and all that, and police had body cameras. I'd like to see that.
Well, how do you feel about the police actually on television stating that they observed him being hit with a hammer? You think the cops are lying?
No, I believe he got hit with a hammer. But what confused me is he's there in his underwear. Was Pelosi in his underwear too?
I don't know if that matters. Why are you asking that?
Because it's San Francisco and he's married to Pelosi, and I don't think there's really
Oh
much love
no.
going on.
What do you say? This is an LGBT affair? What is this, Andrew Cunanan?
I think yeah, might be something to it.
Big Ivy, how long has Nancy Pelosi been married to this guy? You think he just turned gay all of a sudden?
No, I think it's been going on for a while. Bill Clinton, and his wife, they never did do anything. He
Oh
had
my!
to step outside and
I
do
guess
something.
this gives new. I guess this gives new meaning to the term "getting hammered," huh? No, listen. I don't see any evidence to suggest this was some type of gay love triangle. I think you're really reaching on that one.
Yeah. Oh well, it just seems kind of strange.
82.
He's there in his underwear.
It's 2 in the morning and he's in the house. You expect him to be laying in bed with a suit on?
No, I'm talking about the intruder.
Oh well, okay. Maybe he got some serious mental health issues.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Well, but you don't think he's MAGA?
No, no, he's got Fidel Castro pictures and all that shit hanging up. No, I don't think he's MAGA. He don't scream MAGA to me. And all that shit that was written, all that was written this week, wasn't it? He ain't got no big manifesto going back saying he's a big MAGA fan or nothing like that.
Yeah, that part I don't know, but here's one of the things, and I've heard this before. You're not the first person to suggest someone doesn't look like MAGA or they look liberal. I'm starting to think that that's a bad stereotype because that happened. I believe it was on July 4th in Highland, Illinois, where they had a mass shooter, a 20-year-old guy who had purple hair or green hair. He had colored hair, and he used an AR-15 to shoot up a parade in Illinois, in Highland, Illinois. And because of how he looked, wearing, he had tattoos and goofy shirts and things like that. The first response was, look at him, look at the colored hair and things like that. He can't be MAGA. And then when they look into it, I mean, he was at Trump rallies. His dad was some politician in that little city that was giving Trump credit on his Twitter accounts and everything. So I would say we need to get away from the idea that you can look like a liberal or look like MAGA. There are plenty of white liberals with long ass beards, and there are plenty of heavily tattooed, colored hair MAGA and Republicans. So I don't know about that anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. You can't judge a book by its cover, but
Yeah.
he seemed like liberal. That's all I gotta say.
So why would they, if it is a false flag incident, what would be the purpose of it?
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure.
Is
midterms,
there
but I don't believe
any?
it has anything to do with it.
Okay. Is there any possibility, even a shred of possibility, that this actually might be a radicalized Trump supporter? Is that impossible for that to be the case?
No, it's not impossible. Anybody can be crazy on both sides.
Okay. So in other words, he could possibly be MAGA that's been radicalized. You do believe that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I believe that's possible, but we're winning the midterms. I suppose we're winning the midterms. But why would somebody go and attack, somebody like that, member of Congress?
Why would
I know
you're
they
asking why would
celebrated
they
when
do
Ron
it?
Paul
Why would
get
they do it?
attacked.
Huh?
I know they celebrated when Ron Paul got attacked.
Yeah, but the response to your question, why would they go and attack Nancy Pelosi, a member of Congress? What was the woman, Gabby Giffords or something, where someone walked up with a 9mm and popped her in the head or something like that? There was a baseball game that was full of Congress people that a liberal tried to shoot up. Members of Congress get attacked all the time. And shout out to Ted Cruz. I'm sure he enjoyed his last Yankee game. Now, he's a senator, but I'm sure he enjoyed his last Yankee game and that his visit to the View. People do attack politicians, so I don't know when you say why would somebody attack a congressperson. And I would also submit to you that when you listen to MAGA, and I'm talking real verified MAGA, and I'm talking Trump, they put Nancy Pelosi probably as enemy number one when it comes to destroying America. I would say the way they put Nancy Pelosi as a person destroying America is probably competitive even with Joe Biden. I believe they think Nancy Pelosi is more destructive to America than even Joe Biden. She's passed up Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton's no longer in politics. So when you got an entire party of people blaming the destruction of America on this one kingpin, how could you not see why somebody might attack this person?
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's literally going all around the country blaming everything that takes place. I mean, other than George Soros, I don't know anybody that gets blamed for everything more than Nancy Pelosi. And I'm talking about as a liberal who hears about all the things Trump get blamed for. I hear Nancy Pelosi getting blamed for more shit than anybody I know on earth.
yeah, she's big. She no doubt
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, so if you truly want to make America great and you want to get rid of some of the woke community, the cancel culture, the outrageous LGBT stuff, CRT, making white oppression, because I had a show on white oppression, Nancy Pelosi would be enemy number one. So I could see a hell of a lot of people using bullseyes in regards to that. I mean, when you ask why would somebody attack her, how
Yeah,
many
but
rallies do I need to
she's
play?
on out the door. She's fixing to
Huh?
be out the door.
Yeah. I don't mean anything. Hillary Clinton, how long has Hillary Clinton been out the door? Her name still comes up all the time.
Yeah, because she's crazy. She's talking about you can't say nothing about the 2020 election, but you can talk shit about the 2016 election.
Yeah.
Now she's talking about this election and the 2024 are going to be rigged. I
Yeah.
mean, what's up with that? You can't talk about it, but liberals can.
Well, yeah, if she's getting involved, well, she's saying the election is going to be rigged because she believes that Trump is appointing people that are election deniers and they're going to side with him. I mean, that's what she's saying, and that's what she believes. Trump is also projected ahead of time that elections are going to be rigged. So, that I think saying that you lost due to a rigged election is going to become the new concession speech. It used to be when a politician lost, they got on television, conceded. Listen, it didn't go the way we wanted. We ran a hell of a campaign and we wish the next guy luck. That is going to be replaced with yo ass cheated. That's the new concession speech, is yo ass cheated.
And it can't be all on the Republicans because everybody's
It's not.
starting to do that.
It's not. I mean, there's Stacey Abrams who said some things. You mentioned Hillary Clinton, but Trump is the godfather of it, though, because Trump said that shit. When he was running against Ted Cruz in the Iowa caucus, he said that Ted Cruz was cheating. When he announced in 2015 he was running, he said the elections were rigged. When he lost in 2020, he said it was stolen. Then, when Dr. Oz was running for Pennsylvania Senate against whatever the black woman was that a lot of MAGA wanted to win, he was saying there was cheating in the Pennsylvania Senate race. And Dr. Oz, Fetterman, and everybody running was like, there's no cheating here. So Trump has a history of injecting cheating. I think he even said he got cheated out of some Emmys. Trump just throws cheating out there, which I would say, even if the 2020 election was stolen, I don't believe it, but even if it was stolen, at some point you lose credibility. You want to talk about witch hunts on Trump, and you don't believe because there's been endless impeachments and witch hunts. He has been claiming election fraud endlessly. In every election he's been involved in, somebody was cheating. So I don't know.
Even if there was cheating, you need to take a point and just say, screw it, I got to look ahead and just leave that alone.
Yeah, that's what Chris Christie is saying. In Chris Christie's book, he actually states that in order for Republicans to move forward, they got to stop rehashing the past and talking about grievances of the past. But it's a real big rally call for Trump to go to his election, to go to the rallies and say, I'm about to win the third time. And yeah, I don't think Trump is ever going to say that he lost the election. It'll be on his tombstone. Here lies President Trump, the only modern president to win 3 elections. I mean, he just gonna say he won.
All right.
Nice. Did you hear the Steve Bannon leaked audio that I was playing the other day, where Steve Bannon admitted that Trump is going to say he won on election night, whether he wins or not?
No, but I do remember Hillary Clinton saying, talking to Joe Biden, do not concede. Whatever you do, do not concede.
Well, and that's why she's gone too. She can hang out in Mar-a-Lago. Maybe she's where she needs to be as well.
Right.
I mean, if they're gonna continue making phony cases of fraud, then I'm not here to pretend like Hillary Clinton don't deserve what comes to her as well. If she's doing what Trump is doing, then hey, let it be what it is. But I gotta move it on, man. You know how it works.
Good talking to you.
Hey, absolutely, always a pleasure. Go ahead and drop out, as I'm asking guests to do, because I don't know what the hell's going on my side. But and in regards to, let me go into the comments. But in regards to saying there to Big Ivy, I've played this on numerous programs. But just for the shits and giggles in regards to what we're talking about, I want you guys to hear this. This is from October 31st, 2020. So obviously the last presidential election was in November. So this is about 5 days before the 2020 election in which Trump lost. This is leaked audio from Steve Bannon on October 31st, 5 days before that election.
And what Trump's going to do is just declare victory, right? He's going to declare victory. But that doesn't mean he's the winner. He's just going to say he's the winner.
He's going to say he won, even if it doesn't mean he won. He's just going to say it.
The Democrats, more of our people vote early that count. Theirs voted mail. And so they're going to have a natural disadvantage, and Trump's going to take advantage of it. That's our strategy. He's going to declare himself a winner. So when you wake up Wednesday morning, it's going to be a firestorm. You're going to have Antifa crazy, the media crazy, the courts are crazy, and Trump's going to be sitting there mocking, tweeting shit out, you lose. I'm the winner. I'm the king. And he'll be all over. He'll be going, where's Hunter? Is Hunter on a crack pipe? I mean, no, he'll be, because then it doesn't matter. Remember, here's the thing. After that, Trump never has to go to a voter again. He's going to fire Ray, the FBI director. He's going to say, fuck you. How about that? Because he's never going to, he's done his last election. Oh, he's going to be off the chain. He's going to be crazy. Also, if Trump is losing by 10 or 11 o'clock at night, it's going to be even crazier. No, because he's going to sit right there and say they stole it.
Agree.
I'm directing the Attorney General to shut down all ballot places in all 50 states. It's going to be no.
How does he know that 5 days ahead of time? Even if the election was truly stolen, how would he know all of this 5 days ahead of time, the path and the route that Trump is going to take? And he was Trump's election strategist. He was the campaign strategist. So obviously he's involved in the strategy of how they're running the campaign. So regardless if you think the election was stolen or not, there's no answer for why this guy made that accurate prediction 5 days ahead of time. I mean, who the hell is he? Madam Cleo all of a sudden? He's making predictions that are that accurate? In regards to the comments, Big Coach 58, can Trump win again in your opinion? I believe the Republicans can win. Certainly a Nikki Haley or definitely a Ron DeSantis right now would be very competitive. Can Trump win again? I mean, anything's possible, but I think he would have a really hard, difficult battle on his hands. And I'm going to tell you what even MAGA says. There are plenty of rhinos and never Trumpers going around with the letter R after their name. So take in mind all of the Democrats and also take in consideration all of the Liz Cheneys, the McCain families, the Romneys. Trump has made a lot of enemies. A lot of enemies. So I think it would be very, very difficult for President Trump to win again. I enjoy talking about the guy, so hopefully he runs. He makes for good conversation. But just being a realist, I think it would be very, very difficult for Trump to run a successful campaign. I don't know how many people in his own party would try to sabotage it, such as Mitch McConnell. How many MAGA Republicans believe Lindsey Graham can't be trusted or Ted Cruz is an opportunist? These are Republicans that other Republicans feel are untrustworthy. So, yeah, I would have a hard time seeing them pull it off just simply because of the sheer amount of enemies he has made. And because he is still currently holding rallies, I would submit to you that he is still making enemies. Now, 30% of American voters are MAGA. I believe that's about the number. At least 30% are solid MAGA. But that's not enough to win. He needs to expand his base. And unless Biden really, really screws up and helps him, he's not doing things on his own to expand his base. He hasn't expanded his base in the offseason, even though he's been very, very active. He's like an athlete that is trained every day in the offseason, but come game time, he's not playing any better. I mean, he hasn't really done anything to bring new people, in, at least in my opinion. I understand some of you guys think I'm wrong as hell. Come in the box. I have no problem with you telling me that. But, yeah, I don't believe he's expanded his base enough to do it. But that's just my opinion, and you're entitled to yours. Callie to Washington. Haven't talked in a while. Good afternoon, or good evening, rather. Welcome back to the program. Callie 2A. If it lets you on, did it bring it on? Okay, let me try that again. Okay, Callie. Okay. Okay, now I went to some Joan. Okay, I don't know what the hell's going on. Joan, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay. What do you think? You think Nancy Pelosi, you think that's a false flag incident over there?
Of course not. Of course not.
Why do you think so? Why do you think so many people think it is? So many people don't believe it's credible.
I think they don't believe it's credible because their minds are twisted into their ideology that the Democrats are bad, the conservatives are good, and they just refuse to believe. Like they're not looking at reality.
He's not going out easy.
So in other words, their minds are just closed to any other possibility that this could have went any other way. It's just they automatically assume one way and one way only.
Yes. Their minds are closed.
Wow. And now, real quick in the comments, Wolverine, I see you're suggesting that they now have the 911 call and that Pelosi is saying that the assailant was just a friend. Bismarcky, he's just a friend. I don't know about. I need to hear that. I see Wolverine said this Wolverine in the comments. He's a friend of the program.
I heard that, and I also heard that he had the phone in his pocket. He talked in code to the dispatcher because he did not want the assailant to know that he was talking to 911. And luckily, the dispatcher picked up on and read between the lines on what was going on. and
That's what
she
I've heard. I've heard the
prioritized the
same thing.
call.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I've heard the same thing. I've heard that's exactly what I heard as well.
Yes.
Okay. So Wolverine, what you're saying, I'm now Wolverine is a friend of the program. He is MAGA. I see you said that you sent me the link. Obviously, while I'm running the show, I cannot check the link, but I'm looking while we're talking on the computer. I do want to see that. And I will listen to the clip because I see in the comments you saying go listen to the clip. I will certainly listen to that and discuss it. But
Mhm.
so what about the notion that they're claiming that the liberals just wanted to do this for sympathy going into the midterms?
Come and call. I didn't hear your last question.
Okay, yeah, you're breaking up some. They're suggesting that the liberals are doing this because they want sympathy going into the midterms. Is there any possibility that they would have made this
I'm
up and
rejecting a
sacrificed it?
telephone call.
Huh?
No,
Okay.
there is no way the Democrats or Nancy Pelosi would do that.
Yeah.
That
Well, I
that's
have to ask
ridiculous. That's
because
crazy. That's
yeah, I'm not a fan of it either, but I have to ask because I'm getting caller after caller on the right that is suggesting that they set this up and set up this 82-year-old man to get his ass kicked. Okay, Joan, you must be breaking up or something there. I guess I'm gonna have to move it on because Joan.
I have to go. Somebody
Okay,
keeps
all
calling
right.
me and won't stop.
Yeah, come on back through anytime. Go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, why every time a MAGA person does something, they say it's a setup? I don't have an answer for that, Steeler fan. Love the name. Yeah, every time. Why every time a MAGA person does something, they say it's a setup? That is 100% true because everybody on January 6th was Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and yeah, I don't know of any person that's been involved in an event since Trump has been in office that's MAGA, where folks said, yeah, that's MAGA. It's always been a counter that it's somebody else. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Oh, excuse me. I don't have an answer for that, but that does appear to be the case that the first response is because we don't trust the liberals and we do not trust corporate media is to deny, deny, deny. So I don't know. Forest Fire says there's video of Antifa dressing as MAGA on January 6th. There's no proof that the people that were wearing black, or I've had plenty of conversations with you guys on this. There's no evidence that those individuals were MAGA. The only thing that we've seen is them changing outfits or something like that, showing up in one clothing and ended up in another. That doesn't prove they're Antifa. That doesn't prove anything. So we haven't seen any solid evidence that these individuals were Antifa. And in regards to your response saying they said they were Antifa, people were saying all kinds of things that were not true that day. I mean, all of a sudden Antifa becomes honest. Everybody, I mean, people say all kinds of shit. Why do you suddenly believe Antifa now? Antifa says the election wasn't stolen. You believe that too? All right, let me go back to the box. Gangsta G-Man, we about to have a party. Good evening, Strawberry Milk.
I am
Welcome.
not no damn strawberry milk.
No, not you.
What are you
That's
talking about?
someone in the comments. Someone in the
Oh
comments.
my
But
God, don't insult me like that. Okay, listen to here. Mega always they cowards. See, the cowards. They always have to blame somebody else because they don't have the balls to even say they even did it because they cowards. You know what I mean? And like that
okay.
trash that did that to that old man, I guarantee he wouldn't go into the hood and do that. I guarantee
No,
he
I agree
wouldn't.
with that.
He wouldn't.
You know
I
something?
wish he would go to the hood and do that. I guarantee he get pew pew, little coward. And you know,
You know,
man,
I
and it
kind
was
of
mega.
wonder. I kind of wonder when you think of the fact that Nancy Pelosi is hated by so many people, why they didn't have their own pew pew in their house. I don't get that.
He's 80 years old, man. People shouldn't be picking on him. You know why they big mad against Pelosi? Because she stands up against the Trumpsters. She stands up against the little crybaby Trumpy. You know, the little Cheeto head. Oh yeah. And see, and the little megas, they don't like that. They don't.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. They don't. And oh
Well,
well. And then they think of that big wave, the big red waves coming in. Oh, pookies. You better get your tissue ready because, honey, boo boos, we're coming. See, and that's what they don't think. They don't think that we're not gonna come. See, and all they saying is, oh, it's the inflation is gonna get you. Oh, it's this. Oh no, honey, what dims? We know what's going on. They're gonna take our rights away. We can't do nothing. And you really think we're gonna let you sit back and let the Caucasians take our life away? They got another thing
wait a
coming.
minute. So when you say they're going to take our rights away, I have to, I got to ask you, give me an example. Give me some examples of rights that would be lost if we become a nation being led by the right.
Well, for one, our voting rights. For two, our women rights. Telling us what we can and cannot do with our uteruses. Hello. Let
Okay.
and don't even let the R and SAs get anything. Come on now. And see, this is what the Riris are. The little megas. They got some kind of special. They're like triggered in the head or something. They really think that people's going to stand by and let these foo-foos control us. Okay? Now, if you think all hell's going to break loose, you thought all hell's going to break loose in 2020 and how they're crying, oh, it was so rigged. 81 million couldn't. Honey, that mofo, he insulted everybody. And then when the Republicans, we did that with the Roe vs. Wade, oh, you pissed off a whole hell of a lot of women. A whole hell of a lot of
So,
women.
so
Mm-mm. We coming.
so, okay, so if women are coming, and there's a hell of a lot of women that are pissed off about the rolling back of Roe versus Wade, how do you respond to folks, political analysts saying the polls show the Republicans gaining ground in both the House and Senate? For some reason, she dropped out. Oh my! I don't know what happened, but Gangsta G-Man dropped out. Anytime Gangsta G-Man, you can always come back. I lost her for some reason. Sorry, Lindsey Graham and the rest of the Republicans are going to take away your Social Security. You think you're going to have Social Security under liberals and not under Republicans? We've been hearing that Social Security is going to be gone no matter who's in office. But I hope you're wrong. I hope Lindsey Graham is not going to take away our Social Security. Forest fire, she might have gotten banned. With TikTok, any damn thing is possible, but generally, I get a notification on my screen when a caller gets banned, and I did not get that in regards to the last caller. So I'm not, at this time, I'm not aware that she was banned because I always announce it. I don't like any of my callers to be banned, no matter what the hell they're saying. I mean, I've had callers call me the N-word. I'm not a fan of it, but I don't believe in censoring free speech. That's just me. And yeah, anytime they get banned, I always announce what's going on when they get banned. But I didn't get any report that she got banned. She thinks people like her are going to control us. Says real. I can't pronounce the name. Raylan Reed, I think it is. In regards to people like her controlling people like us, the problem is the way our politics, the way we engage in politics in this country. Whoever the people are in power, they control the other people. Because you will listen to her and say she's a liberal and she wants to control Republicans. Well, Roe versus Wade is controlling women. There's no denying that is taking away some freedoms from women. I understand you're pro-life and you want to protect the sanctity of the child, but it's going to go further than that. For instance, if you believe taking the life of the unborn is murder, then you're going to treat any death of a child as a possible homicide investigation. So just like if an actual living baby passes away, they're going to investigate why did its life end, and if somebody has committed a crime. Well, miscarriages are now going to be viewed that way. You wouldn't take a baby to an amusement park and strap it in the roller coaster seat next to you, cause the loss of the baby's life, and get away with that. You'd be charged. Well, if you're pregnant and you get on a roller coaster, how is that not the same thing? So I'm submitting to you, as wild as it may sound, is that miscarriages may start being investigated. Was it an accident or was it deliberate? So you may start hearing women that have had miscarriages being brought up on charges because of what they were doing. I don't now the idea that I'm stretching, no, it's not. I can see you suggesting that it's stretching, but it's not. If you believe that that child inside of her is alive and entitled to protections just like anybody walking around the planet, then if she's carrying a baby and she's doing drugs or something like that, how could that not be child abuse? You wouldn't take a living child and put a bong up to the baby's lips, would you? Because the drug is harmful to the baby. But if the living child is inside of you and you're doing drugs, it's the same thing. You're going to tell me no lawyer, no right-winger, no evangelical would try to make that argument? It's just a stretch that would never happen. You really believe that? No baby's father would ever accuse the mom of deliberately killing the child? It'll never happen? Really? All right, going back to the box. Bridget, what does it say? Bridget, I can't pronounce the last name, but let's just make it happen. Good evening. He's want to get lit. Humby 559. Good evening, Bridget.
Hi, how are you tonight?
I'm doing very well. Good to have you on. Is this our first time talking?
I think I was on a long time ago.
Okay. Fair
I
enough. Well,
think I've
welcome
talked
back.
before.
Welcome back to the program. What happened at the Pelosi home? False flag? MAGA? What do you think?
I believe it was a crazy nut. No matter who it was a crazy ass nut. That's what I believe.
Okay. Well, you
I
could
do
be
believe it's strange that they didn't have better security. I do think that's strange. I'm interested to see videos because they have video cameras at least.
Yeah.
Is what
I
I'm
believe
thinking.
that. How do you feel about the police officer, though, suggesting that he caught the man in the act?
Okay, so the guy actually stood there. What I'm surprised about is that he's not gone. That they actually kept him alive and got him to the police station. Because if you know, you know. If it was a person of color, he'd be gone.
Yeah, I mean, if he's actually hitting
He wouldn't
the
have
man
made
with
it to the police station.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, sir?
Yeah, if he was doing what the police are claiming, and I'll play this real quick for a couple seconds here. Because if he was doing what the police are claiming, he was definitely
observed Mitch Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer.
Hang on a second.
911 is listening.
Our officers observed Mitch Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer. The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mitch Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it. Our officers immediately tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took him into custody. The House Speaker was...
If that's the case, yeah, he was definitely a justifiable shoot. So I get what you said about a person of color and how that probably would have ended. But yeah, he was definitely a justifiable shooting.
Absolutely. Not to mention, I mean, just being in the house, not supposed to be there, could have been a justified shooting.
Yeah, that's true too, right? Just simply being in the home. So but why are there so many folks on the right suggesting that this whole thing was staged?
Crazy? I don't know. I'm not one to call people crazy, but if you act crazy, you might be crazy.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you see glass outside that door. I've seen a better picture than what you have up right now. There's glass outside. It's obviously a break-in.
Yeah. Well, I had a caller, my first caller, Miss Drew, she's MAGA. She was asking why, if this was a break-in, why is the glass on the outside of the house?
Okay, because I have seen it where it looks like it's on the outside. I mean, glass doesn't just go in one direction either when you break it.
Yeah.
Goes on both sides.
Yeah, my response is the glass clearly looks like it's tempered. And if he's using a hammer or using something to break in, who's to say he wasn't hitting the glass and pulling it out and hitting it over and over again, because it doesn't look like the typical glass where it shatters. It looks more like automobile glass where it's tempered with some kind of plexi film or something on it. So based on,
Mm-hmm.
if it's that type of glass, it could easily end up on the outside as well.
I just think so many people are wanting conspiracies for. I've heard some awful things today. Awful. From
Like what?
people that support, like, thank God, almost gleeful that he was attacked. He's an 80-year-old man that was just
Yeah,
sitting in his home, like an 80-year-old man. And there's nothing to be gleeful about. Do
yeah.
I
I
think that it's false? No. I think that he's actually in the hospital right now. I think his wife is probably very scared that she's going to lose him. And I think it's disgusting that
well, they
people
said he's
are
expected.
like,
They said he's expected to make a full recovery, but yeah, the report was that the hammer did fracture his skull, so he got hit pretty damn hard.
you know what? None of us are promised tomorrow. And if he's gotten hit really bad in the skull, I'm guessing there's swelling. They're probably
Yeah,
having to do like put tubes in his head to keep the swelling down or from, it's so sad.
yeah. I mean, I don't know where we headed, but um, do you think it could? Do you think there could be any possibility that something like this happened because Trump attacks Nancy Pelosi? Because people are saying that. Do you think this could be any
Um,
response? Go ahead.
I think that first of all, I think our politics are really insane right now. And I think that there are people that take things and twist them in their minds and
Yeah.
probably needed some mental help or counseling or whatever. Who knows what if they're on drugs or if they're going down conspiracy rabbit holes, who knows what's going on in the man's mind.
Mm. Yeah. Well, he's been charged with attempted murder. And by the way, I've heard Biden condemn this. Have you or anybody in the comments who's listening, has anybody heard anything from Trump on this incident? Has he condemned it or spoke out at all? I'm assuming he may have, but I have not heard anything.
I've only heard that McConnell has.
Yeah, McConnell issued a strong rebuke. I did hear McConnell, but I have not heard from Trump yet.
I don't expect to.
Mm.
That's just
He has
kind
to
of
say
leader.
something. He would have to say. He can't just ignore this. He would have to say something.
Why would he's not in a leadership role anymore?
Yeah, he's not, but I'm assuming Obama and Clinton have spoke out. Do you need to be in a leadership role to speak out on one of the Congress people that was literally right behind you on stage throughout your entire presidency?
He doesn't care about anybody but himself, sir. So why would that shock me? And yes, Obama
Yeah,
already came out. He came out for the Warnock and Abrams rally, and he spoke about it.
yeah. I don't know. How does that even make the man look if he doesn't say anything? No, he should. I mean, I don't know. Every president that's alive, it's not. I mean, that not only is this a congressperson, but this is a. I mean, how long has Nancy Pelosi been in Congress? Since the '80s. Every president that's alive should issue a statement. They all know her. They all know her personally. So, yeah, I can't see how any former president, even the Bushes, would not say something.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So, well,
If he
so
was a
let's
good
hope.
person,
Go ahead.
maybe, but it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't.
Mm, I don't know. Well, I'm going to assume he would certainly say it's not MAGA. So he'd probably speak out on behalf of his party and go against the naysayers that are saying that this guy is a Trump supporter. I would assume he'd do at least
There's
that,
good
but
people on both sides.
yeah, he is known for that quote. He is definitely known for that. All right, well, Bridget, I got to move it on.
Okay,
I
thanks
just
for having me.
absolutely come on back through anytime. Good talk. And go ahead. Yeah, there you go. Okay, looking at the comments, the guy was mixed race, libertarian, trans. Do you know him personally there, Wolverine? He was a mixed race libertarian. Shreds. That's a mouthful. Obviously, you're being sarcastic, but wow. I don't know. But for folks who are just tuning in, tap your screen, get your boy to 5,000 likes. You always know what I ask you to do. There's plenty of MAGA in here. Some liberals, as you can see. Always a pleasure having you guys here, as I state on every program. I do not ban, block, or censor you for your points of view. But for you guys who have just filtered in, this is what we are currently in talks or in discussion about.
We now know the identity of the man charged with bursting into Nancy Pelosi's home looking for her and attacking her husband with a hammer. He's 32-year-old David Wayne DePate from Berkeley, California. He allegedly screamed, "Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?" 82-year-old Paul Pelosi was struck on the head and torso with a hammer. The attacker reportedly tried to tie him up and wait for Nancy. Video shows shattered glass doors in the back of the house in the fashionable Pacific Heights neighborhood of San Francisco. The home invasion took place at 2:27 a.m. Friday. And look, there's an object, possibly a hammer, lying on the carpet. Paul Pelosi called 911 without the attacker realizing.
Paul Pelosi is basically trying to tell her in code what's going on. Why are you here? What are you going to do to me? I mean, you can imagine how he's trying to not let the attacker know that 911 is listening.
Our officers observed Mr. Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer. The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it. Our officers immediately tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took him into custody.
The House Speaker was at her Washington, D.C. home at the time of the attack. A spokesman said Mr. Pelosi was taken to the hospital where he is receiving excellent medical care and is expected to make a full recovery. Nancy Pelosi has a Capitol Police security detail 24/7, but they were not at the San Francisco house because she was not there.
Before we go, we want to send our best to Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, a lovely, lovely man who was brutally attacked in his own home in the middle of the night. Nancy's husband, Paul.
Here's what we have learned about the accused attacker. He sells hemp jewelry. He's a conspiracy theorist and espouses racist views. He's 6'2" and weighs 250 pounds. This is him dancing with the bride at a nudist wedding outside San Francisco City Hall in 2013. President Biden expressed outrage. A horrible attack, he said, adding he was praying for Paul Pelosi and Speaker Pelosi's whole family. And the FBI foiled an alleged plot to assassinate Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh in July. Nancy Pelosi was a key target of the January 6th rioters. And her home has been attacked before. The garage door was daubed with graffiti in a protest last year. And now this.
What I don't get is exactly what a lot of folks are putting in the comments, and it's mainly MAGA, but I'm going to agree with one point that's being made over and over and over again, and that is the ridiculous lapse of security. There's no explanation for why literally the most hated woman by MAGA and Republicans is living in a house that one dude. Now, if it was like the Capitol building where it was stormed, that's one thing. One dude broke in your crib. I mean, seriously, that does make them look, I gotta say, even though I believe what the cops are saying, it does look suspect. It does look suspect to some degree, and I'm not going off the QAnon route or this conspiracy theory route at all, but I can't blame anyone for asking questions in regards to how would the third person in line for the presidential throne be living in a house with this level of weak security. I got Deuce in the Hood selling dime bags. They got more security than this. I mean, I know people that have cameras all over their crib and they moving just a little bit of product. This person is a walking bullseye. And this is all they have? I mean, he didn't break in the crib with a machine gun. He got in with a hammer. It is embarrassing that the level of security. I'm not going to say it's a false flag. I'm not going to say it's for the election, but I am going to say that anybody questioning how their security could be this weak has a valid point. Has a valid point. Nancy Pelosi needs to be put on television and ask that. Why is your crib so wide open? Why don't you have fences up? Why don't you, I mean, I understand you down with, supporting immigrants and shit like that, but at least put a wall around your crib. Maybe you don't want one on the southern border. Okay, fine, but put one around your crib. Because people getting in your crib with a hammer. I can't, you can't even get in this man cave right now with a fucking hammer. I don't get it. And I'm not trying to make light of it. But yeah, that's hard to explain. As I said before at the beginning of the program, when you look at MAGA and you try to analyze who they believe is responsible for the biggest amount of destruction in America, Nancy Pelosi is usually number one or two. Most of the dislike and hatred is aimed at Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, and whoever the current leader is on the liberal side. If it's Obama, it was Obama at that time. Now it's Biden. When Biden disappears, once Biden is no longer president, they're not going to be hating Biden as much anymore because he's not in power. Nancy Pelosi is a different story. How she could not know that something like this could happen, it doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't even want to go visit Nancy Pelosi if I was an intern or if I was some type of assistant without carrying something. You got a lot of fools hanging around your crib. I mean, that's just the way I used to do it when I lived on the south side of Chicago. If I went and visited someone who often had drama, I thought, I second guessed going to see him. Or, when I was a landlord, I'd carry around a pew-pew. I mean, if you're in drama situations, you should prepare for that. In Nancy Pelosi's house, the chance of something popping off there is got to be sky high. And they're dialing 911 like a regular citizen. It is suspect, period. It is suspect that's how all of that went down. I'm not going to say it's a false flag. I'm not going to say they lied about it, but anybody that asks questions on how that all went down, yeah, it's a legitimate question. You're third in line for the president. Not only that, but just like with the Capitol building, it shows our detractors. It shows terrorists. It shows Russia. America has some weak spots. When you look at what happened on January 6th, okay, they had obviously large amounts of people, but it does show you with a well-trained group how far they could have got. I mean, on January 6th, the only reason we didn't lose all the Congress and all the Senate is because they didn't coordinate that right. They did not coordinate that right. And that would also apply to Nancy Pelosi's husband or Nancy Pelosi herself, is that the assailant didn't coordinate it right. All he had to do is wait till the right time and he probably would have got in there. And at the very least, taken the life of the husband. Apparently, when Nancy Pelosi is there, there's more security. But here's the problem with that. If the president, vice president, or the leader of Congress, if you live somewhere, it should have 24-hour security. Why am I saying that? Because all you have to do, like the guy with the hammer, as opposed to going after the husband, what if he just placed bombs with timers somewhere? That way, when she comes back in the house, even with her security detail, there's already something inside the house. The house should be guarded 24 hours a day, whether the president is there or whether you get the Speaker of the House, whether the Speaker of the House is there or not. That house should have 24-hour, round-the-clock security. Because, like I said, what if the assailant went into the home and placed a device in the house where then he could just sit down the block and wait till she comes and use a phone and activate the device? So it doesn't make sense that the security was this lapsed. In my opinion, all of Congress should have round-the-clock security. You're making laws that greatly affect people, that really can hurt people's lives, like with the COVID laws. I mean, the COVID rules took whole businesses down. Every congressperson should have 24-hour security. Mr. Platform, while they're Or better yet, why they're giving themselves lifelong positions and making all of that money. I don't get why they haven't voted themselves to have lifelong security. Mr. Platform, good evening.
Hello there, handsome. How you
Hey,
doing?
I'm doing good. What do you think? You think that this is something that they did deliberately to make the liberals have a sympathetic ear going into the election?
Um, Definitely not. Most definitely not. And I also don't think it was MAGA. You know what I think. You know what I think it was.
A guy with mental health issues?
That's it. I think somebody, just we don't know we don't know. We got to wait till the police report come out. We got to wait for the investigation, and
Okay, what
everybody
about
makes.
his Yeah, but what about his social media page where he's talking about the stolen election, he's talking about the January 6th committee, he's posting stuff from Mike Lindell, the Mike Pillow guy. He's talking about the COVID protocols. That does seem to lean to one side of the aisle, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
And I, after I heard what happened today, then I was watching the news and looking at. I was just thinking. I was like, I think I better wait until because you and you know you never know. 'Cause remember that guy who claimed he was attacked by a guy, the actor. He was
Jesse
attacked.
Smollett in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was mad and ticked off, and that damn MAGA, and I was like, something don't sound right. And
Well, but in regards to the Jesse Smollett case, that even the police stated from pretty early on that they didn't think it sounded right either. I don't know if they're doing that in this case, though.
you know, I look if I was willing to bet it was MAGA. I don't. I hope it won't MAGA. Let's
Yeah,
just get that out there. I hope it
I
won't
agree.
MAGA. I hope it won't. Nothing like that. Because I have no problem with MAGA. I'm not a MAGA. I don't. I'm not on their side by no means. I'm lean more, to the left,
Right.
but I still don't. I still don't want them. I don't do nothing. It'll be shameful for you to stoop that to that level. It'll be
Yeah.
shameful. And
Well, but on January 6th, they clearly were looking for her in the Capitol building. They were saying they were actually
yeah.
calling her name out. What do you think would have happened then if the protesters had have gotten their hands on Nancy Pelosi?
Well, you know what would have happened.
They would
They
have
would have.
the big hug and the kiss.
No, well, okay, okay, yeah, let's just say that then. That's what
Okay.
yeah. I mean, just like all of those people did not rush in that building just to cuss her out, or anybody else. They didn't. I mean, come on, they had their intentions,
Yeah.
and they knew what they wanted. And who's to say? Who knows? This guy here, he might have had a crazy guy might have had his intentions. He knew he. I mean, but think about it though. He wanted. He was waiting to. He was going to try to tie
Yeah,
her
I
husband
heard
up
that. Yeah, he's gonna tie her up and
to get
wait till
home.
Nancy got back.
Now,
This guy was on some sinister shit.
now, now, in the comments, somebody was saying everybody kept yelling, it was a gay thing gone wrong or whatever." Look, and I was sitting there saying to myself, "Y'all stop. That's stupid. Think about it. Think about it. I mean, how he wasn't, he wanted the relationship relationship with her husband, and he was
He's
gonna, break the
he's
news to Nancy
80
by doing
he's
that.
82. He's 82 years old. Come on now.
I don't know. I mean, I know, do a lot of 80-year-old hot women. I'm sorry.
80. You know some 82-year-olds that's getting busy?
No, I don't. I just look. I'll try to get. Listen, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I'm
Oh
trying.
my God. Shit like that. That'd be like making out with a raisin. 82 is a bit old.
Okay, I just finished eating. Stop. Okay, stop.
I'm just saying, 82 is a bit old. And
Yeah,
I see in the comments, Strawberry says Hefner. Hugh Hefner was a special case. I mean, I guess if I'm surrounded by a bunch of playmates, my shit will work until I'm 90. But that's not, Nancy Pelosi is not a playmate. So it's a little different.
definitely not. Definitely not. But
Yeah.
I just really, I mean, I'm just ready for them to finish the investigation, and I want to see what I mean, what else comes out. I haven't said nothing else about it yet. I haven't said nothing. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. I don't know what's going on.
I don't, but when you say you want to wait until the investigation is complete, I would submit to you, particularly for some of my MAGA viewers, I don't think it'll be just like January 6th. It don't matter what comes out of that investigation, they're not going to accept it as reality.
Oh no, they're not.
Yeah.
Still, like you said, just like January 6th. From now to 2050, I mean, that's still not going to accept it. It's not going to. They're not going to be able to take it, and it's okay. It's okay because as long as the high courts know and do their job, they have to deal with it. Just
Yeah.
deal with
Yeah,
it.
unless Trump can present Trump or another Republican or some investigator can produce a significant amount of additional evidence, Trump is going to go down in history as somebody that lied about the election. I mean, that's just the way it is because he stated he won by a landslide, and as of now in 2022, there has not been enough evidence. I mean, there's evidence to suggest that there may have been some improprieties that folks may have not done what they were supposed to do, but he said he won by a landslide, and there's just not enough evidence to say that. You can say,
And,
well, Biden was in his basement or all of these other things that are more or less consequential, but in terms of actual hardcore evidence, there's no evidence that Trump won by a landslide.
and somebody was telling me the other day, we was having a discussion in the live, and we the discussion was about the only way the Democrats can win the election, the midterms, is can't we need to get past Trump. Well, we can't. How can we get past Trump? Because he is still, I mean, he is still, the big lie is still floating. It's
Yeah.
still floating. The big lie of rally, big lie part two, big lie part three. I mean, to be continued, another big lie. I mean, it's all these lies. I mean, it's just, dude. I mean, he's in everybody who's running right now. All the Republicans running. Donald Trump he's campaigning for him. I mean,
Well,
of
what
course.
about okay? I got one I'll ask you. Like in the comments, Fun1 AAA says Trump is still president. Right now, he is still currently president. What do you do when you get comments like that?
Um, Immediately I drop down on my knees, start praying for him. I mean, that's what can you do? These people are gone. As long as people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and all the other people are still, in office and they're still running or they're still, relevant. I mean,
Yeah.
and QAnon is still out there. I just really, and I'm not a big religious person, but I gotta pray for him somehow. I gotta do something.
Fair enough.
What else can
I've
you
had,
do?
I've had plenty of shows. In fact, I had a show on the other day where a guy was actually at a rally that was headlined by Donald, what is it, Eric Jr. or whatever. Jr. was there in what's his name, Flynn or whatever. Those two were headlining,
Matt Flynn,
and
yeah.
a speaker got up there and said Trump is coming back in power later this year. And I'm like, wow,
Oh yeah.
so yeah, I hear this stuff all the time. I played it for the audience, and even some MAGA folks on the program were like, this guy is, a kook. But when you look at the crowd, they were all cheering that shit on. He got up there and said that Trump is coming back in power later this year, and
It's
people
like it's
were
almost
going
like they're
nuts for
doing.
that.
It's almost like they're doing a screenplay. I mean, it's just they just it's it's like a Tyler Perry movie. They just did Medea one, Medea two, and it's just they just won't give it. I mean, hope I you know what? Let me just say this. I hope he does run in 2024, and I almost hope he win. You wanna know why? Because if he run and he win, then they can say he's finally in office. Now the lies can stop. He's in office now. You
But
stop
what about
guessing.
the idea that some liberals are claiming that if he runs and wins, he's going to become a dictator, like he's going to make it so he can stay in
I believe
office?
that. I believe that. I believe
You
that.
believe he would do that?
Yeah, I believe he was trying to do it in his first 4 years. He was trying to be look at all the things he was doing. If you go back and read everything, if you go back and read Mussolini, look at everything Mussolini was doing. And Trump,
But wait a minute. MAGA and the Republicans are hardcore constitutionalists. Obviously, that goes against the Constitution. You're telling me that MAGA and the Republicans would toss the Constitution aside to let Trump become a dictator?
that's a that Constitution is a talking point. They every single time that something happens and they want to argue about something, they want to throw that constitution up for as a shield. And to let people know, wait a minute, we believe in the Constitution. No, you don't. You don't really believe in the Constitution. You just believe in power. You want power, and you're using the Constitution to get to that power. That's what they're doing.
That's scary. That is scary. I hope you're wrong. Well, I don't see Trump winning again though. I've said before, I think that with so many Republicans against him being reelected, because if Trump wins again, people like Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, their jobs will be in danger. So I'm assuming there's a hell of a lot of Republicans that do not want him in office as well. Mike Pence's whole political career will be over with, obviously. Mitt Romney would be in great danger. I mean, so I'm not talking about liberals. Liberals are supposed to dislike him, but there's a hell of a lot of Republicans in positions of power that do not want their job security threatened. And if Trump was to win again, he would go after some of those people. So, having said that, I think there's a lot of folks with an R after their name that does not want Trump reelected.
I agree on that. That's
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
And
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I think that I think that would make him have a serious uphill battle trying to get back in. But platform, is this this ain't our first time talking, is it?
This is my first, and you know what? I have been wanting to get. I'm always in your lives. I've been wanting to have this moment to talk to you right now, and I finally did it. I'm just gonna hang up a banner now. I think I feel better.
Well, it's an honor, man. Anytime you see me on here, come on through. I'll definitely put you on. Your opinion is yours to have, and I'll never interfere with it. Come on through anytime, man.
All right, thank you so much.
Absolutely. You have a good night.
You too.
Looking in the comments now. I'm glad you were here. Celebrate the moments. Oh, Mark Gardner, Cord Star G-Ma. Good to see you in the comments there. He's pretty reasonable. Thank you, Fancy Prancy, friend of the program. Appreciate that. Trump is a triple cheeseburger. Be the goat. Triple cheeseburger sounds kind of delicious right now. My big ass is hungry as hell. That sounds good. Racists, anti-Semites, and people stoking violence are never called rhinos, just if you disagree. Well, I've said it before in the program is that one of the things I disagree with MAGA on is the notion that anybody that disagrees with Trump is a rhino. I don't, if you're a Republican in name only, what that means to me is that you are running as a Republican even though you do not espouse to Republican values. That is what a rhino should be, not someone who disagrees with Trump. I would submit to you, and I understand a lot of my MAGA folks are going to think I'm crazy as hell for this, and they're entitled to their opinion. But I would submit to you that in regards to rhinos, Republican in name only, Trump is the rhino. Trump is the guy who ran as a Republican to get access to the Republican coffers because you need money to run for president. The same way Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat, but he ran as a Democrat to get access to the DNC funds. So what happened was Trump became the party leader, and he's trying to turn the party into a different direction. And anybody that doesn't agree with him is becoming a rhino. But in reality, he is running a rhino platform. He's not a dedicated Christian. He's not a family values kind of guy. You reduce the deficit, in terms of spending. He's not doing any of that stuff. He's not running on traditional Republican values. He just won the position fair and square. He did win. I'm not going to say Hillary Clinton won. He won the position, and he's promoting different values. Folks like his values, and they're entitled to like his values. But his values are not Republican values. He's had multiple wives. Like I said, what church does Trump go to? He's not a Christian. He's not a Christian of any significance. What church has he been going to all these years? He don't fit the Republican tenets that you normally hear. So if you like the economy and things he was doing, that's fine. You're entitled to do that. But he is the rhino. He has changed the party into the Trump party. And anyone that does not toe the line is now being called rhinos. But in reality, Liz Cheney, folks like Mitch McConnell, and those are real Republicans, genuine Republicans. And because they don't go along with Trump, and you look at Mike Pence, for instance, goddamn, milk drinking, come here, mother, Mike Pence, that is a hardcore Republican for you right there. How did he become a rhino? That's your Christian. That's your small government, Second Amendment loving guy. Oddly enough, out of all these people, Trump is the only one on record saying I identify as a Democrat back in the 1980s. Mitch McConnell, Mike Pence, these people have been Republicans their whole lives. You'll never find a clip of Liz Cheney saying I identify as a Democrat or that she's okay with an assault rifles ban. Trump was doing all of this stuff. So I have to ask, how the hell did these people become the rhinos? That would be like hanging out with Candace Owens and having her tell me I'm not black. How do you do that? Candace Owens hanging out in the South Side at the basketball court. You guys ain't black. What the hell just happened? So that's what it is that, Trump came along and people like Trump. Trump is he has a certain bit of charm about him. I can totally understand why people would like Trump. And then, of course, when he was in office, people were making money. The economy was doing pretty well. So I can understand why people would like him. But he is a rhino. He is a rhino. Trump is a rhino. Period. I mean, I could play you clip after clip, banning bump stocks, talking about fighting with the NRA. Like I said, I identify as a different. I mean, how many clips do I need to play to prove to you that Trump is a rhino? Just because you like him, that doesn't mean he's not a rhino. He just means you like that guy. And that's your right. But as I said, I don't know. Folks have a love for Trump that cannot be challenged, and it is what it is. Anyhow, folks, I do got to wrap the program up. Appreciate the fact that you guys are rolling with me. You could, as I say all the time, you could be anywhere you want to be on the social media platform, and the fact that you're rolling with your boy is always an honor. Is it a false flag? I am very curious to see what comes out. I'd have a hard time believing Nancy Pelosi or the liberals use this 82-year-old man to sacrifice himself. But that's me, and you are you. But yeah, you guys are coming through. Always, as I always say, I'll never ban, block, or censor you for your opinion. You're entitled to that. Having said that, you guys have a good night. Stay safe. Stay politically involved. And I'll catch you guys on tomorrow night's show.
In 5, 4, 3. That's tomorrow, and that is it. Up again. 5, 4, 3. That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live.
Fucking thing sucks.
Fucking thing sucks.
Good night.
And 5.